What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pro Wrestling Society. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a couple of topics: action figures and sexism and racism. I'll start with action figures first. First of all, um, I like to say that I love wrestling action figures when they're done right. Um, Now they are just, especially the WWE ones, they are horrible. I repeat, horrible, just terrible. They reduced the size to a point where they just look like trash, honestly. And oh my goodness, I went to Walmart a couple of times and I went to check them out, and they're just terrible. Just I can't even begin to describe just how terrible they look. They look like the type of figures that I could just hold in my hands and just break them and they would be done for. That's just how the design is bad, the look is bad, almost everything about them is just bad. It looked like some cheap, crusty uh piece of crap toys that you would find at a dollar store. And I have found them at dollar stores too. Um but yeah, every figure is the same size, no figure is uh is just it just looks like all the figures look like they've been um you know painted with God knows what. And it's cringe word the way house they all look. And um none of them have anything particular that stands out. It looks like they're just painted with some paint and just thrown out there for the heck of it. It's really bad. um Back in the day, I remember looking at wrestling action figures in the toy store, and wow, what a difference. The action figures back then, they had unique features. Like I remember seeing John Cena with one with a spinner belt included, and then he had some special action. I can't remember. Um, and he was huge too, so that's what made the action figure stand out. And it came with gear as well, um, and then you have the Undertaker, which looked pretty dope, especially with his trench coat and his removable hat. They're removable too, and it looked like actual leather. It was perfectly sculpted to suit him, and uh, and then they had this breakable ring with sound effects and whatnot. So that's pretty much what made it stand out. I have a Raven action figure that I got as a kid. And it stood out pretty well. It had the straight jacket to it, that you could remove. It was a TNA action figure. Um, Also had a removable kilt, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what. Oh, and it also had his arm could be fixed in a position to do the uppercut and other stuff as well, um, or any punch. With it, you pull it back and then it snaps forward. So I thought that was pretty unique. I thought the face paint could have used a little bit more work, but overall it was a pretty solid product. Um, I also own a Monty Brown figure, also pretty unique, and it's got a one of those. I can't remember. It's like a launcher that helps helps him do the pounce or replicate it. So that's pretty unique as also. And then he's got, you can change him in whatever position you want him to be in, and yeah, I thought the facial expression was pretty good as well. It looked pretty intense. Um, and then I also have own a Bis action figure, which probably isn't. I can't remember what model it was, but I guess it's different from others I've seen. But overall, um, you can do a lot with it. Like it's almost as um, yeah. Basically, you can do whatever you want with it. It looks like Abyss too. Um, let's see what else. I also own the TNA Six Sides of Steel, where you can remove the steel cage and whatnot, and and add a bunch of stuff to it. Remove the stickers and whatnot, and add more stickers. It's pretty unique, but and creative too. And yeah, that's pretty much why wrestling figures suck now, because there's just no, except the TNA action figures and whatnot, because there's no WWE figures are just garbage. I would never buy my son or daughter any of those because I had one guy on social media argue to me about talk about how they look more realistic. Now he must be out of his mind. They look nothing like the original um wrestlers. They look nothing like them. So to hell with that argument. Um so pretty much all I had to say on that subject. Um Now I'm going to talk to you about the sexism in wrestling. I think wrestling, American wrestling at least, has gone downhill with women's wrestling. Honestly, in my opinion, women's wrestling has never been on the same level as the men's. In fact, it's pretty much sucked for the whole time that I watched it, especially in the WWE, because um, several reasons. I think that women are held back for um, various reasons, like um, they might not have they can't achieve the look, if you know what I mean. Like it's very hard for women to be bodybuilders because not every woman is. It's very hard for, I don't know, something about genetics and and whatnot that plays a role in how women grow muscles. So makes it hard for them to actually be on the same level as the men. And to I could see that, to an extent, but also feel like it's the fans who keep demanding the same crap. Like they keep demanding women to be a certain way, to be eye candy and sexual and high flying and stuff like that. Um, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but I'd like to see more diversity. I like to see women like China who can actually wrestle. Um, women um, like Bull Nakano, Sexy Star, Evilise, um, Cobra Moon, Melissa Coates, a whole bunch of women out there that actually are the best in what they do. And unfortunately, the other reason why there's seems to be sexism in the industry is because um, not really sure if I'm not really sure if like exactly how it goes down, but it feels like um, back then, like I don't know what happened, but it was the fabulous Moolah. She seemed to have done paved the way for some women's revolution or whatnot, and then that died down. So and ever since then, it's just been trash uh, for the most part. And then China sort of brought back women's wrestling to its prominence. Um, but still, I felt like she was held back compared to other wrestlers, and same with other women out there. Um, like I'll see them, they'll win a title, but it's not hyped up enough compared to the men, or it's very short compared to um, men's titles. So uh, and they don't seem to be very um, well put in main event matches. It seems like it's just slapped together for the heck of it, and so which is probably why I just don't watch women's wrestling that much. And a woman would have to stand out a lot for me to actually become a fan of them. But unfortunately, women just don't stand out, and I don't blame them per se. I feel like part of the blame is on the companies who keep dumbing them down and degrading them. Um, but yeah, I feel like women are definitely held back. It seems like the fans, especially the male ones, they just don't want to see women on the same level as as men because it's intimidating for some reason. Um, I know that Sexy Star has been the victim of discrimination by men, as she pointed out in her interviews and whatnot, and she says that the male wrestlers would beat on her and they would hit her in an attempt to get her to quit the business, but she would just refuse and keep going. And it's been pretty hard for her to make it into the mainstream wrestling scene. So I got a lot of respect for her. Um, but yeah, it feels like it's very hard for women to stand out, let alone win memorable um, titles in history, and because they're just not appreciated as much. Um, looks to me, looks don't matter when it comes to wrestling. I don't want to see smoking bombshells walk into the ring like they're going to a catwalk or something. I want to see actual wrestling. I'm not interested in the the teenage drama that you see in WWE. That's just bull. I'm into some mature, real women's wrestling, not girls wrestling, not little toddlers wrestling. I want to see real women's wrestling. You know, that's all I had to say on that subject. And now for the racism. I feel like there's tons of racism in wrestling. Um, I don't know about the other wrestlers, but I know for my favorite wrestlers, it feels like they're highly discriminated against, like Ron Killings. Um, Ever since he was in the WWE, it felt like he was just some hype man. Just it felt like he was just put out there to freestyle, rap, break dance. And that was it. There's nothing. Just be an entertainer and um he was held at mid card from what it seems, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I personally want to see someone treated on the same level as as white wrestlers, because it seems like the white wrestlers are treated more with more favor and whatnot. Because um, when I compare Ron Killing's time in TNA versus WWE, there's a huge difference. When he was at TNA, he would cut better promos. He would put up more memorable matches. He would do a lot more things that it seemed like he just didn't do in WWE. And same with Monty Brown. When he was just golden in TNA with the matches he put up and all that stuff. But when he went to WWE, it seemed like they just changed his name and his image and his theme and he was just kept at mid card and um with these trashy matches, and it was bad. Honestly, it was. I did not enjoy it at all. Um, and also hear that Vince McMahon he fires wrestlers, uh, people of color for touching him for doing things that he just doesn't agree with, and that's racism right there. Whether you agree with it or not, that's racism. In fact, he tried to get, from what I heard, he tried to get Mark Henry to call himself the Silverback Gorilla or something like that. If that's not racist to you, I don't know what is. Um, um, and with John Cena, I know that despite being a fan of him, he didn't really have to work hard for his position. Um, the fans liked him when he was a jobber, and they pushed him. As a result, and that's when he chose to work hard. But really, um, he was given that privilege and that opportunity. No disrespect to him, despite being a fan, but when it comes to wrestlers of different color, if you get my drift, seems like they just have to work a lot harder than their white counterparts, and that to me is a pretty big issue. Um, I'm a fan of The Undertaker, and despite him being, I think he's half Native American, he's still half white, from if I'm not mistaken. So just because of that whiteness he has, he was given the opportunities that he was given. Um, so yeah, it's pretty disappointing how some of my favorite wrestlers, um, I noticed that they're not given that much opportunities compared to, you know, uh, like the title reigns. Even though fans might say that the title, oh, well, they won such and such title, but if you think about it, it really doesn't matter because if you compare the title reigns to the actual um, white counterpart, this seems short to me. Not to mention the main events and whatnot, and how they're booked and whatnot. And um, there's all those factors. Rey Mysterio, I know he was held back for. It seemed like he was hugely underrated when he was in WWE. Um, like he was okay. Was he in the main event? Yeah, every now and then I saw him in the main event, but um, overall I felt like he was barely anybody. Now I haven't seen all of his matches in the WWE, but I've seen quite a bit, and felt like he just didn't get the attention he should have gotten. And yeah, pretty much all I had to say on that subject. Well, let me know what you guys think. Like and comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.